Today's episode is sponsored by Old Point National Bank. Since Old Point first opened in 1923, they have been committed to their customers and their community. Even though Old Point has grown substantially over the decades, they still operate under local management with the same trusted name and the same genuine concern for their customers. Visit oldpoint.com for more information. All right, today we are joined by Ashley McAchran, owner of All the Rage. Ashley, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about All the Rage? I know All the Rage isn't all there is. You also have several other stores.
Yes. Well, All the Rage, started in 1980 and has been around the Hampton Roads community for a long time. And it's known for the place to find beautiful evening wear and dresses. And my story and our story kind of begins with me joining the All the Rage team when I was 16 years old. I was a junior in high school and trying on the beautiful dresses for my ring dance. And kind of the rest is history. I was offered a job to come work as a seasonal stylist and fell in love with pretty things and working with women. And, we just that's where my story began. And now All the Rage is grown into a collection of stores and companies that specialize in special life moments for women and people. So we have Studio I Do Bridals, which is our bridal brand. It's kind of our flagship bridal store, and it's one of the largest bridal stores in the state of Virginia. And then we have Here and Now Bridal, which is our second bridal location, which handles all off the rack bridal for those quick turnaround weddings. And then the newest addition is our Mom and Me brand that we just launched in June of this past year. So it's just, All the Rage started just with pretty prom dresses and kind of grew into many more things and opportunities to bring to shoppers looking for special occasion attire.
Yeah, it does say, it feels like you've sort of covered the gamut.
Yeah, really,
and weddings and proms and mother of the bride, bridesmaids. You really have tried to corner the market a little bit.
Well, it's funny, I realized when starting in prom and working with young teens, the only way to really see them back again is if we help them with another special dress. So All the Rage, when I was managing the store years ago, before owning it, did a small dabble in bridal, and it had beautiful bridal dresses, but everyone still thought of All the Rage as a prom store. So it wasn't till I decided to purchase the store that I was like, it needs a new brand identity for bridal and for our bridal dresses, which were stunning, to take off and have their own opportunity to grow. And that's when I introduced Studio I Do Bridals in 2014. So we're celebrating our 7th year this year. We just passed that. So we're very excited.
Do you move the stock out of there into its own store?
Well, at the time, I just rebranded the department because we didn't have the opportunity to get a new storefront at that moment. Okay. But I just kind of marketed it to everyone as like, what? We have this new bridal department. It's called Studio I Do. And we actually had it within All the Rage. So people that still went into All the Rage, they would now see two very different departments. And we actually put a wall up in the store, and you'd walk through this archway into the bridal. You'd walk into the showroom and it was all dresses, but you'd walk through an archway and it was bridal. And that's when we gave our bridal clients just a really intimate shopping experience. We had a lot of dresses in a tight space for a while, but it was after two full bridal seasons of working in that small quarters that we were able to then expand. We had an opportunity to expand next door. So now our Studio I Do Bridals location is next door to our All the Rage storefront. So they're kind of connected, but from the outside looking in, they're two separate storefronts.
Yeah. So when you said, which is just interesting, you said 2 bridal seasons. For someone who's not familiar with that, what does that mean?
So typically, and it's funny, it's changed a little bit and evolved with the times, but
Yeah.
then we had a bridal season, and just like wedding season for vendors that plan weddings, there's a bridal season for retailers, and we help brides because it's a long process to find a gown. A lot of people don't realize that when you are shopping for a wedding dress, you need to give yourself time, because gowns typically take anywhere from 4 to 6 months to be manufactured, made, and these are made to order dresses. We do have a lot of selection of dresses, but we don't sell our selection off the rack at our studio. Hence why there's Here and Now. Here and Now is our off the rack storefront for those brides who need quick options. But the bridal season, pretty much brides getting married in the spring, summer, and fall, which are the busiest times of year in our area to have a wedding, are shopping January, February, March, and April of the previous year, typically, to cover those time frames. And with that was our bridal season, essentially, that we go into every year, starts in the beginning of our year. And now it's changed. COVID kind of changed some things, and now we're seeing it's kind of leveled out to where we don't really have a separate season. In the last couple of years, it's just kind of stayed consistent, because brides and couples, when they're planning their weddings, they have to spread their options of dates. So we're not seeing brides just get married. Exactly. You're not seeing them get married just in the spring, in the summer, or the fall anymore. You're seeing winter weddings. You're seeing a lot more in our area. So that's helped us just continue having a full year of brides always. So that's good.
So during COVID then, I mean, with everything shut down, how did you guys adapt to that, especially in the bridal and special events, everything?
It was such a scary time, obviously, for everybody. And stores like us, we're such a unique type of retail. I think what was our saving grace and was the fact that we're an appointment only location. So we were able to work with all the limited restrictions through those, the mandates, the masking, the social distancing. We were able to do that in our store and continue to kind of run business in a new normal. And it ended up working out a lot better for our type of environment for our clients, because it was way more intimate. We had this thing, we called it the one and only. We changed our appointment type to a one and only experience. So you could only book when no one else was in the store. So our storefront that had 5 fitting rooms now was condensed to 1 fitting room during the shutdown, but we were able to book solidly through those appointment times. And the brides they could only bring 1 guest with them, as opposed to a normal experience where you could bring like 2 to 3, maybe 4. And so they could bring 1 guest with them. Now, we all thought it was going to be like, oh my gosh, they're going to want everyone's opinion. They're going to ask to come back 10 times before they, say yes. But it actually, the complete opposite happened. Brides were finding what they truly wanted. They had, 2 hours to just relax with our stylist and which helped, take them through the process. And because we're a pre-planned occasion, we have to purchase so early before their event. We didn't realize COVID was going to affect the facilitation of weddings for as long as it did. We were hopeful that it was short-lived, like everyone was, but it did affect their actual dates and their events. But we were protected because of the time frame needed to secure their gowns. They had to, if they were going to plan their wedding, they had to be prepared to have a dress, whether their wedding had 5 to 10 guests at it or 50 to 100 guests at it. They still needed their gown. So we were lucky enough through COVID to actually grow and create more specialized moments for our brides by evolving and adapting to the times. And that really kind of helped us through. And luckily, again, like I said, we were protected, even though the wedding industry was hurt and hit hard. I always feel bad. And I feel for my peers and colleagues in the industry, because they were hit so hard by this, and we were lucky enough to be ahead of it because of our time frame of delivering on a gown
And I
So
think too, there's external factors help play into that, was the fact that people did think it was going to be over fairly quickly. So they were still going ahead with the
they
purchasing,
were, yeah.
Mhm.
you know, and everyone sort of had that optimism. I think so. There was no like, oh gosh, we're going to be shut down for 2 years. There was never that thought. So I feel like you had that on your side too, with that, you know, just sort of everyone was uncertain. So let's just keep going.
Yes, we just did that. And yeah, I can't thank my teams, my managers and my full-timers enough to get us through those times, because it was tough. I mean, we lost employees like everyone did. We had to pull back, but not only that, some people just didn't want to work. They were too scared to work with the public, but thank God for my leadership team and my managers who were here getting us through and taking care of everybody. And it was thankfully very short term for us in the pain, and we just evolved and did what we can to make it special for the clients that still wanted to plan for something.
Yeah.
We didn't know what it was.
Well, let's go back a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as, so you started working at All the Rage when you were younger.
Yes.
How did you become owner?
So it was a long journey, actually. So I worked for the store for, I want to say I'm a lot older than I look. I can't remember the exact time frame, but it was like 11 to 13 years I worked at All the Rage. And I kind of went on retail burnout year 11, and I was like, you know what? I just need a break. And at the time, when you're a manager of a retail store, you don't really get many breaks. Especially we're a weekend run company. I mean, we run our busiest times of the weekends. I didn't get many weekends off to spend with my friends, my family. I finally got to a place where I was like, I think I'm burning out. I think I need a break. So I decided to leave the company and sow my oats and figure out something else to do for a short amount of time, because I never truly left the wedding industry. I actually ended up wedding planning for a couple years and doing floral design. And then I worked at a marketing team for another company and learned a lot of things about marketing. It was in that 3 year, I had like a 3 year gap where I missed everything I did with All the Rage. And I always thought of All the Rage, and I always wondered what All the Rage was doing. And at that time in my life, I really didn't need a special occasion gown or a wedding dress. So I never went into the store when I wasn't working there. But I kept hearing like, Ashley, we miss you at All the Rage. You were there for so long. Like, you know, and anytime I would hear someone come up to me and go, why aren't you there anymore? You should go back. I was like, you're right. Like, that's where I belong. So I ended up reaching out to the owner and asking her how things were going. And it was just kind of this perfect timing moment where she was like, I'm ready to retire. And I was like, well, would you ever consider selling the store? And she goes, you are the only person I'd ever sell it to. And I was like, oh, well,
okay, then
let's do this. So I really didn't even go into that meeting asking to own the store. I just kind of was like, I want to come back. I want to get back in the game. And my husband we were dating at the time, and he was like, we can do this. If you want to buy the store, like, let's do it. I believe in you. And I'm like, okay. So we bought a store, got married, opened another store, all within a month.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it was amazing. And from there, I live and breathe just working in specialty retail. I've been given opportunities with my ownership of the stores with our brands, because we've grown so much by just changing a little bit. We've never changed our experience. We've more changed the internal like looks of the store. The store has gone through a couple of mini renovations that help our clients, enjoy our products. And they're beautiful spaces, and that's really helped our collections of dresses, both in prom and in bridal, shine. And it wasn't, I think it was then that we got noticed by national brands like Allure Bridals, which is a company we've done business with even before I owned the store for 20 years. And they asked me to help design and curate their upcoming collections. There's only 5 retailers in the whole country that get to sit and be a part of those. And I've been on it for the last 12 seasons with them. And I go every 6 months. I actually just got back the other night from a design meeting working on fall 2022 collections. And that experience really kind of catapulted our locally owned business and store into a more nationally recognized brand, which has been great. Every time I go to these meetings and meet other retailers like myself in other parts of the country, they just constantly remind me like, oh, you're doing such a great job. We love seeing, you know, the brands evolve and change, but they always have their eye on Studio I Do. And I'm really thankful that we can keep, you know, bringing cool things to the table and having an edge in the industry by being a part of these design trips and whatnot.
Yeah. Do you think that it would always be an in-person experience, or any of this sort of convert to online, to make it available more of a national brand?
That's a great question. For me, I believe so much in the shopper's in-person touchy-feel experience. And with a wedding dress specifically, or a prom dress, these are special life moments. You don't have virtual weddings and events, really. I mean, they tried for a little while to make those happen, but nothing beats the in-person like contact that we have. And when you're shopping for one of the most special dresses you'll ever wear, you want to see it and feel it. And I believe there was a push for online retail about, I want to say maybe 8 years ago. It was like, oh my gosh, the industry is going to be shook because we can sell things online now. And we didn't let it affect us because we continued to serve our clients in person, just the best of our ability. I think when you hear people talk about retail's dying, retail's not dead. It's the experience you provide for your customers needs to evolve and be the best experience in order to get people to enjoy their shopping. That's why people shop online, is because it's convenient and they can easily get what they need without having to deal with bad customer service, which we don't do. So, and we pride ourselves on that in all of our locations. We continue to just be here for our clients and give them the best experience and the best products, and give them places to feel so good about what they're purchasing in, which is, I think, why we set ourselves apart from other retailers and how.
Wow. I mean, well, I was going to ask you a question too. So when you bought the business and suddenly became a business owner, did the previous owner help you, or did you just have to learn it as you went?
Well, it's funny. I owe all of my knowledge of the industry and how to run a business to her, because I watched her do it for 13 years. I actually helped her run the business, so I knew how to do most of the things. But all of my passion comes from the front of the house. I love to be with people. I am thankful for my husband, who is the tech and the business side that really helps run from a different end. We're a great kind of partnership. I own the store, but he helps direct. And it's wonderful to have that. I was thrown a lot of hats when I managed, and I was able to understand numbers and goals and balance sheets and things like that. But now I can just focus on the customer experience, and I have my husband who handles the rest. And I think that's also what helps us thrive, and why I continue to evolve brands and create new, because I find a need for helping people and celebrating these special moments with people. So, but yeah.
Is that always the plan, to have him involved, or it just happened to be that way that you needed that assistance? And
You know, it was funny. He is one of the reasons why I became a business owner, because he supported me so much. I think prior to just working at All the Rage, I honestly never thought I was going to be able to buy a business. It's scary to think, but I know now how to do it. But at the when I was before, I was like, how do you even start a business? Like, what do? I don't have the money to buy that. Like, who comes up with this kind of money? I didn't come from much. So I just kind of was like, this is never going to be in the cards for me prior. And then when it kind of was, and I had a husband or, fiance at the time that was like, you can do this and we can do this kind of together, but you're going to do it. Cause he has his own business. He's in real estate. So he's busy, but he was the supportive person I needed to kind of help me, just see that, yes, I can do this, and and I can continue doing what I love and I'm passionate about. And he can help with the things that I don't love, which is the back end, not my favorite place. But it just worked beautifully because he loves that stuff. So, and
I think that a lot of business owners, they do start out because they've got a passion for it, or it's a hobby or something, but the business end of it can be a struggle, because sometimes, if you've got a very creative brain, the whole math and, accounting isn't always the strength.
Yeah.
So, you'd be very lucky to have that partnership.
Yeah. And to have it in your husband, who is not going to steer you wrong, or, partnerships are difficult. They work well for a lot of people. They're difficult, and it works well because we both have the best interest of each other too, in the end, and our family, and it really has worked wonderfully. And I couldn't do it without him. Sometimes I tell him I want to do it without him. No, I'm just kidding. But I can do this, but I love that we do it together.
That's funny.
So, Joey, did you want to ask anything? I know I've just been sort of running.
No, it's been going good, Kylie. Well, you did have, so I keep hearing about this Vera Wang, going on with you guys. What's that about?
So, was so funny. Back in 2002, when I was just 2 years into working for All the Rage, and I was at that point, I graduated in 2002. So after you kind of graduate high school, the owner at the time let you dabble in bridal. If you were a high school kid, you couldn't help brides, but you could dabble in bridal after that. And I just did. I just jumped right in. And Vera Wang was the first high-end bridal designer that I got a chance to work with here at All the Rage, because All the Rage carried her line in 2000. And it was a very prestigious line. It was high-end bridal gowns. They retailed from $4,000 to $6,000. And nobody else had anything like it. The one thing the Harmons, who owned the store previous to me, taught me is that protecting your brands and your relationships with your manufacturers is super important in business. And they were able to build such great relationships and do good business with manufacturers and designers that they got exclusivity, which is an interesting kind of word in our world, because a lot of people don't do that anymore. It's like, we want to sell to whoever and have our stuff in any store. But in our world,
we're frozen. Let's see if she comes back.
Oh, sorry, Ashley, you froze for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, I was still hearing you guys. I apologize. I don't know.
Good.
That's all right. You stopped at exclusivity, but in our world, and then it cut off.
Well, something's going on with my internet.
Well,
One moment.
Oh, no worries.
I'm going to try to is it working now?
Yeah, we can see you. Everything
All
looks
right,
like it's going good again.
I'll keep rolling. Just go like this if you can't hear me.
All right.
So the exclusivity is really important, and they did a lot of that. So I was lucky to watch them negotiate their terms with their manufacturers and hone in on those exclusivity agreements. And I kind of continue to live by that when we do sourcing for new product. And actually, I didn't source Vera this time. They came to us. They contacted me, a representative, and said, we're relaunching Vera Wang. Vera Wang left the bridal world a little bit because she commercialized and went to David's Bridal exclusively. When she did that, she was no longer able to carry her bridal brand really in boutiques, except for maybe her high-end flagships, which the only people that really shop there are celebrities and multi-millionaires. But we're not used to that here. So Vera Wang's name just kind of went away in my bridal world, the boutique bridal world, for a while. And when the representative called me and said, Vera, I have really exciting news. Vera is coming back. She's pulled out of David's and she's relaunching her bridal brand. And we want to be in your store. And I said, well, are there any other stores in the area that you're interested in? And they were like, not if Studio I Do has it, we'll give you a territory. And I said, okay, what's the territory look like? Because we do have 2 locations in Virginia. We have our Virginia Beach location, and then we have our Roanoke location. We're about 4 hours away, 4.5 hours apart. And she was like, well, we would love to be exclusively at either one of your locations or both. And I said, well, I want to bring the line back to Virginia Beach. I think it would be a wonderful thing again. And so now we have an exclusivity of the Vera Wang. We're the only store in the state of Virginia. I think the closest store would be the DC area that is carrying it. But that's really nice for us because the Vera Wang bride is a bride that will travel to get what she needs. And so we already pull from North Carolina, Maryland, West Virginia. We already pull from those, our surrounding states. We will most likely pull a little bit further for this collection, and we'll be able to see even more brides from across, the country in our little store. So it's really cool.
Excellent. That's really cool. That's great. Yeah. That's great news. Congratulations.
And we're launching the line in just a couple weeks. It'll be here. And we're really excited. It's December, I believe December 30th, New Year's Eve. So we're very excited to launch it.
Very cool. Well, we are running low on time. Kylie, anything else you'd like to ask?
Just what your goal is for the future, because you're building this, empire, it feels like.
I always just say we innovate and evolve with every moment that time gives us. So we just want to continue to do that. And there's definitely many things in the future for us and growth opportunities. And we're just still looking to do that and give more opportunity, not only to our clients, but also passionate people that want to be in this industry and help women and feel beautiful, because we're creating a lot of jobs for people locally to do that. And that's been really rewarding. And we're just going to continue to do it.
Yeah, that's really important too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ashley, for being on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
No, thank you. Pleasure's all ours.
Great.
All right. You've been listening to the Retail Is podcast. If you've enjoyed what you heard, you can find more at retailalliance.com/retail-is-podcast or search YouTube for Retail Alliance. I'm Joey Morgan.
And I'm Kylie Ross-Sybert.
Thanks for listening.